What's going on for you? How could I help?
I guess my biggest struggle right now is flaw questions. I can't seem to always identify the flaw between the conclusion and support correctly each time, which is obviously hindering me from answering the question right the first time.
Okay. So what have you done to study flaw questions in particular or to get familiar with flaws?
I've done a lot of just like flaw questions themselves and just like watching videos like your videos on flaw questions and like how to identify flaws and practicing with not necessarily like LSAT questions, but just identifying flaws in like random scenarios or passages that like are provided on the internet and things like that. But mostly just doing the questions over and over again and reviewing the questions. And it seems like I get it on the second time and like that I know why I'm getting it wrong, but I'm still getting it wrong the first time afterwards.
Okay. And how many flaw questions have you done?
Probably about like just flaw questions themselves. I've done them in the prep test from like 57 to 65. All like the just flaw sets in those prep tests so far, and I'm just like working my way backwards and forwards throughout the prep tests.
Okay. So let's say that's maybe 7 or 8 exams. And let's say there's maybe 6 flaw questions per exam at most.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like maybe 40, 50 flaw questions total, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a decent number, but there are still many more out there you can practice on.
Yes.
I also have flaw workshops inside the course. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have. I'm just slowly making my way through them whenever I do get the chance to be able to like focus and sit down and watch some videos.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever notice a distinction between classic logical fallacies and flaws that are unique to an argument?
Yes and no. Like I feel like I'm getting the easier flaw questions right where I can identify the flaw, and then like when it's a little bit more wordier, that's where I get really mixed up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think you could do to change that?
I think really just practicing more and just maybe trying to practice more in general with the flaw statements of trying to identify the flaw between the argument and trying some of the harder flaw questions.
Yeah, that could work. That could work. There's tons of flaw questions out there, like I said, to practice on. So I would just do more of them. And then another game you could play is treating it like you're really having a conversation with somebody. I got the sense that you've been looking for flaws in everyday life, of which there are many, especially in election years and political times. You have even more of them available to look at out there. So always keeping an eye, being skeptical, being critical, and looking to see what's that disconnect between evidence and conclusion. Bring that mindset to bear on whatever you encounter. You'll start to pick it up more in the questions too.
Right. Okay. Definitely. Yeah, I could see that how that can be definitely beneficial.
Yeah. What else is going on for you?
Logic games I seem to have, I'm pretty strong with those. And then reading comprehension, my difficult struggle is inference questions. And just being able to, and I know that the support is usually in the passage, but I'm finding that I'm not able to make an inference sometimes correctly.
Okay, so what leads you to get those wrong? Is it not finding support?
Yeah, it's not finding support, and I tend to run out of time too with reading comps, so I feel like I'm rushed, and I'm trying to practice them without being timed right now, just so I can kind of understand, but then I'll practice them sometimes timed, and I'm still not able to make that connection between the support for the inference fast enough.
What's your initial read like on the passage?
I think that's my biggest problem is that the initial read, I get the main idea, but I feel like I'm like reading over small details that I'm not catching. And so when I go into the questions, I'm rereading the passage again or parts of it to find the little parts that are involved in the question.
And how long do you spend on your initial read?
The initial read, about 2 minutes.
Are you noting where those details are during the initial read?
I was at first, and then to cut down the time, I tried not to, and just like maybe because I'm just using the Law Hub so I can practice the online format. And it does take time to highlight things, and so if there's something that I notice, maybe like once or twice throughout the passage, I'll highlight. But I really try to not make note just because of the time it might take up.
Yeah. Yeah. Does 2 minutes on that read feel like enough to you?
It does not feel like enough to me. I feel like I'm not able to grasp that in that amount of time, and I know that I need to get towards that.
What do you think would happen if you doubled the amount of time from 2 minutes to 4 minutes on the initial read?
I think that I would definitely be able to grasp more of the information and the reasoning structure in the passage to be able to answer the questions, but then that scares me because I don't want to have limited amount of time on answering the questions.
Right. So there's a cost. 4 minutes would give you a lot more understanding, but you would then pay for that when solving the questions. So I'm going to recommend that you've already done, I'm guessing, a number of passages with the 2 minutes. Now I want you to do an equal number of passages with 4 minutes and see what changes. Then, if you like 4 minutes, do 4. Alternatively, there's a compromise. There's a middle ground, 3. So maybe 3 will be the magic number. Maybe 4 would be okay. Personally, I'll spend 2.5 to 3 minutes approximately on that initial read. Maybe if it's easier, I'll spend 2 myself, but I've been at this for a while, obviously. So 3 minutes might be good. Might be, but I'm going to suggest you actually give yourself 4 just to see what that feels like to go more in depth. And then even just through your own studying, you might be able to naturally reduce it from 4 to 3.5 down to 3.
Right. Okay. I could definitely try that.
What might you change with regard to note taking if you had more time?
I would probably take just a little bit more notes to just highlight either some details that I know that will probably show up in questions, and anything of like the author's point or a specific main idea within the passage. I'd probably highlight some of those.
Yeah, see what it's like. See what it's like. You can highlight on Law Hub. You can underline on Law Hub. You can also play with the notes that you make on your scratch paper and the level of detail you put there. It could be words, it could be phrases, it could be paragraph summaries, it could be expressing the author's main opinion, the main idea, any of that. And then noting where the details are so you can find them when you need to. And you can note that mentally. You can also jot it down, or you can annotate it on the passage.
Okay. I can definitely try that then.
Cool. And when are you taking the exam?
August 29th.
Okay, so you've got about a month to play with this, and you can do it on the side as drilling individual sections, or you can do it organically as you complete full-length exams, which luckily for the Flex, only 3 sections. You can do more.
Right. Okay. Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anything else for today?
No, that's probably about it. How many practice tests do you suggest like studying or completing full practice tests up until my test?
At least 10.
At least 10 more. Okay.
And how many have you done so far?
I've done so there's the practice test where I've just been doing the questions, and then from, I think I said it was like early 60s to about like mid 70s right now. I'm just working my way up.
Cool. Great. And with a month between now and test day, how many more are you looking to do?
I'm planning on completing all of the tests up until the last prep test that is available in Law Hub. And then if I have any time, going back and doing any tests that I may have already done.
Okay, so if we're going from the 70s through 89, that's potentially 15, 20 exams.
Right.
So how are you planning to budget those over a month?
So my plan is on the days that I'm off, I will do at least like one full test. So that's 2 days that I have off, and then throughout the week, I work third shift, so I have like the morning available. I'll probably try and do 2 more prep tests like in the morning and sit down and just do like 3 sections though. So I'm trying to fit in like 4-ish a week, but spread out obviously, so I don't burn out.
Yeah. So never on consecutive days should you do a full length timed exam. So
Okay.
if you're doing 4, I wouldn't make them all full length sittings. Even if they're 3 sections, it's still a lot. So maybe you want to do 2 as full length exams, maybe 3 since it's flex, they're shorter. I wouldn't say that for 5 section exams necessarily. Then the others you could do as individual timed sections scattered and then combine them, obviously knowing that the score could be inflated because endurance was less of a factor, doing them divided up. But still, you're working through the material.
Right. Okay, yeah, I can definitely probably just do some timed sections by themselves, not get too overwhelmed.
Perfect. Great, Tanisha. Well, I'm glad we connected. Before we sign off, what would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
The biggest insight is approaching the reading comprehension questions. I think that I didn't realize that I could adjust it to like my own needs right now, and just like I was so focused on timing, and so just actually thinking that maybe I could just adjust it to fit my strengths right now and go from there.
Perfect. Well, keep at it. All the best over the next month, and I'll see you in class soon. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them, and feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.